All right. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, coming to you from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. I'm actually traveling for work, so going to just give it just a few minutes for people to jump on board, to share the page out, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. How are you today? How was your day? You may have missed me in the mornings. I usually do Metaphysical Mocha Mondays in the morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, I was actually at 30,000 feet flying to Washington, D.C. for my day job. So I wasn't able to do the show, or at least I haven't found a way to actually do the show from 30,000 feet live via video and not capture people behind me, especially when you're sitting in the middle seat. So tonight we're going to it's still Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. We're going to still do an inspirational show for the week ahead. It's just an evening edition. I haven't really done Mocha Mondays during the evening, so I don't know what kind of viewership we're going to get. It's 8 o'clock here, Eastern Standard Time, so 5 o'clock Pacific Time, where I'm usually from. I'm usually in Seattle when I do my live shows. So we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm going to give you a message today talking about something that came up in one of my readings that I did. It's about being more of the creator and less of the critic. So if you guys do me a big favor, if you'd share the page out, that would be fantastic. If you haven't jumped on the page with the, 29,000 spiritual prospectors in search of their own spiritual transformation, spiritual healing, and spiritual gold, then please make sure to subscribe, like, share. And let's see if I'm streaming live. I don't even know if I'm streaming live yet here. I'm trying to pull up my laptop here, see if I'm actually live. I'm not seeing the feed, so I don't know if I'm live. If somebody could let me know, that would be fantastic. Yeah. So I'm here in Washington, D.C. I'm actually literally a block away from the White House. So let's see if I can show you here. So here's the map. And on the map, I am here at the Grand Hyatt Hotel, which is right here. And if you go just 2 blocks down, there is the White House. So that's where I'm at tonight. I'm at the Hyatt Hotel, Grand Hyatt Hotel. So it does look like we got a couple people jumping on this morning. You are live. Okay, thanks, Alyssa. Appreciate that. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you? Thank you for sharing. Hi, Colleen. Thanks for being on. Okay, cool. Like I said, I haven't done an evening show in a long, long time with Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. So bear with me because I'm kind of doing it all. I wanted to see if it was streaming on the page, but I don't see it streaming for some reason. Could be just the internet connection. So no worries. We'll still do a little bit of spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold. Let me know where you're from if you're new to the show. Thanks for joining in. Like I said, if you want to share, subscribe, comment, you can do so. I will be doing the Healing Cafe right at 8:30 p.m., not 8:30 a.m. That's my normal time, but I'll be doing the Healing Cafe immediately after this show, starting at 8:30 p.m., which is 5 p.m. Pacific time. So my time frames are now backwards. But I'm here in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. I'm here for my federal day job that I'll be here all week working for our veterans. A lot of you guys don't know, I don't do this work as a spiritual psychic, as a spiritual medium, as a life coach, as an inspirer. I actually have a day job where I work for the Veterans Administration, the Office of Inspector General. So taking care of our veterans. I've always been in service, whether it was the Coast Guard, the Fire Service, and now I still have my day job of taking care of our veterans, making sure that our veterans are taken care of. So that's, I've been doing that for, oh my goodness. Okay, so we do have some people tuning in. So that means I am streaming live. I wasn't sure if I was streaming live, to be honest with you. But I've been doing this job for 11 plus years now. I've been in federal service for over 18 years. And then I went part-time about 2 years ago to where I could start doing more of my spiritual work, more workshops, more live shows like this, more articles, more focus on my radio show, Inspired Living Radio. And, it just popped up. So there's a delay now. So I see that it's on the page here. But what I did is I'm going to tie what I'm doing here in Washington, D.C. For my day job about being more of a creator and less of a critic. But before we do that, we have to grab our coffee, we have to grab our tea, we have to grab our protein shake, wherever you're at, whatever time zone you're in. Like I said, I usually do Metaphysical Mocha Mondays in the mornings, but because of travel, I wasn't able to do that, so I decided to do a nighttime show. So I've got my really bad hotel coffee, Starbucks. It's not very good, but it's actually it's not coffee. It's actually tea. So doing a little bit of tea tonight because it's 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. So I don't definitely want it to be coffee because I won't be able to go to sleep. And I always find the first day of traveling to the East Coast and I have to get up to work tomorrow. That 3-hour time change is just brutal. But what I wanted to talk to you about today, and I'll be taking your questions, live readings here at 8:30 p.m. So immediately following after Metaphysical Mocha Mondays will be the Healing Cafe. I do need your guys' help today because I'm just working from my phone from a hotel room 2 blocks away from the White House. If you could share out to pages, if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Just helps spread the message of inspiration, guidance, education, hope, healing, transformation, all that good stuff that we're looking for into today's world. Especially if you're on a path, especially if you're on a spiritual path, or you're feeling alone, or you're feeling lonely, feeling lost, feeling anxiety, feeling depression. That's why I do what I do, guys. Is to help others and to be in service. Whether it's the veterans I serve, I'm a veteran myself. Serving my country in the Coast Guard, serving my local community as a firefighter for 13 years. I've always been in service, and what happened was 2 years ago I had the opportunity to go part-time, and the spirit world or the universe or my intentions unlocked that door, and I became more of a creator. And let me know, guys, just give me some thumbs up or hearts that the sound quality is okay. I do have the sound turned up all the way and the microphone seems to be working, so I just want to make sure that the sound quality is good. But what I did is 2 years ago I started working more on my spiritual practice, the Intuitive Prospector, because I felt that if I could reach more people and connect with more people, I feel that there's an Intuitive Prospector in all of you. That's just the name of my company, but I feel that we're all searching for something. And so 2 years ago, I started to really work on spending more time and focus and energy and intentions and mindfulness and manifestations for growing my company, growing my spiritual practice, growing my reach. And 2 years later, I'm still doing my part-time day job, but I love doing the work that I do, whether it's writing articles, doing my podcast, doing readings one-on-one or live workshops or live public events. So it's just something that helped me to move into that creator mindset. And that's today's message. Today's message is be more of a creator and less of a critic. More of a creator, less of a critic. Because we all have that critic in us. We all have that doubter, that ego, that naysayer, that pundit in our heads that will hold us back from following our dreams, from following our desires and our passions, because maybe what people will say about you, or people will always have something to say about you. Just so you know, one of my favorite quotes is from Winston Churchill, where he talked about if you stop to listen to every barking dog along the way, you'll never get to where you're going. And there's a lot of truth to that. So we're going to talk a little bit for the next few minutes about how to be a creator, how to move into some of those thoughts, some of those emotions, kind of the secret language of your feelings and how you're feeling. And if you guys want to work with me after the shows, you can always find me at marclainhart.com. You can internet search the Intuitive Prospector. You can always find me at Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory, Ariel Spiritual Community, and FamousPsychicMediums.com. Those are my 4 professional directories that I'm a part of. But the best way is just to go to marclainhart.com, which has all the links to upcoming events, what's coming up, my podcast, all that, what I like to refer to as spiritual awesomeness. So let's start first with the card for the week. And the card that I picked for today, for today's shows, which is quite fitting, it's the New Beginnings card. So it says New Beginnings. I know it's backwards, but it's a 1. And this is just the card starting for you. So if you've been thinking about being a creator and going after what I say, Carpe, Diem, seize the day, and getting out of that fear, which for me, fear is false evidence appearing real, so that you can go after your dreams. The world is your oyster, and the sky is not the limit. You can go where you want to go, be who you want to be, and I think there's a lot of power and authenticity in doing that, and a lot of happiness as well. Being a creator, a lot of times we hold back. I think some of the people that are out there, some of the inspirers or some of the people that are musicians or actors. I've found that a lot of them have had a rough background, a rough childhood, traumatic scenarios, but they find a way to push, to create something bigger and better than themselves. I too fall into that format. I too fall into a very troubled childhood, multiple marriages, being not myself, but just going through multiple marriages and having a very dysfunctional childhood growing up. And then I had the trauma and loss of my brothers to murder and cancer. And it changed me. It changed me to be who I am today, to be an inspirer, to be a teacher, to be a psychic, to be a medium. It's not something I always embraced, not something I always did, but it is the path that I've been working on for the last 10 years. And this last year, when you become a creator and you stop listening to that critic, and that's today's show, more creator, less critic, and you stop listening to that voice in your head that wants to instill that fear, instill that failure, or what if you fail, which for me, I've now embraced failure as first attempt in learning. There's some power in that, guys. There's some great healing. I know in some of the work that I've done through counseling, through hypnotherapy, through biofeedback, to handle the past traumas of what I've gone through to make me who I am today. Because a lot of times, who you are back then doesn't define who you are today, but it can really set you on that path to become who you are today. And I always remind people that your past is not a life sentence; it's just a life lesson. And are you learning from that? So let's talk about. Let's see here. Getting some messages here. Okay, there's the video. Okay, I got a little bit of delay, so I've got my work laptop here and just seeing if I could see it coming on. So thanks for joining, especially to all my top fans. I truly appreciate you, and I hope that you're having a great Monday, or you had a great Monday and you started it off great. And if not, you're catching tonight's evening show of Mocha Mondays, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, because I was traveling and I still wanted to get out, and I'm a little tired from traveling, but I still wanted to be dedicated to my show, dedicated to the spiritual prospectors out there, to inspire you for the week ahead. That's what this show has been about for the last 2 seasons, the last 2 years I've been doing this, is inspirational messages for the week ahead. And today I'm here to remind you to be more of that creator and less of that critic, because we all have that critic in us, and it's about paying attention to how much you're listening to that critic. So some of the things that have helped me, and I'm just speaking truth in the fact that I took a leap of faith myself 2 years ago when I decided to leave my full-time position with the job that I do, helping veterans with the Office of Inspector General for the Veterans Administration, and went to a part-time basis. And that was a big-time pay cut for me, and it was a leap of faith. So everything that I'm telling you or sharing with you, I've done myself. And I had to stay positive. I had to stay motivated. I had to have mindfulness and manifest for what that I wanted to see my spiritual practice do. And boy, I've got all sorts of ideas about the creator, writing my book, working on my first deck of prospector cards, being able to travel around and teaching and doing workshops and connecting with people and inspiring people. It took me a few years to actually see it and to embrace that, to even just be comfortable in my own skin, to even talk about that, especially in a public forum. But one of the things that's really helped me when it comes to fear, to move into that creator space, and I'm speaking directly to all of you that are watching today. You know what your fear is, and you know the things that you want to do in life. And if you don't, come see me. Let's do a reading. Let's have a chat, and I can help you. Do some intuitiveness to find what your path is, or what your path looks like. It's what I do. I help people. But one of the things that I found in dealing with fear, when I want to move into that creative space, whether it's writing an article, coming up with the content of this show, what was I going to speak about today, I get a lot of synchronicities. I get a lot of signs and symbols. I get a lot of oracle information because I'm very open to that language that's very ancient, that's very old, of signs and symbols and oracle messages and seeing patterns. And when you're open to that, man, the world really does change. It makes you wonder if we are living in the Matrix. But one of the things that has helped me with my fear is when I'm thinking that something bad might happen, or thinking what people will say, and trust me, I've had all sorts of opinions about what I do. I've been called a con artist, the son of Satan, a devil, doing the devil's work, evil. And it's not any of that at all. And for those of you that know me and follow me, you know that I'm very passionate about this and want to see people succeed, want to see people happy, want to see people fall in their authentic self and their true self. Sorry, this is my hotel water. But one of the things that I found as I broadcast today's show 2 blocks away from the nation's capital of the White House, that's where I'm at this week. One of the things that I work with when it comes to fear is when I think something is bad is going to happen, when I think it's going to happen up here in my mind, what I do is I do a reality check and I check in with myself and I actually say, okay, do I need to prepare for this or do I need to avoid this? And one of the things I found that's very beneficial is identifying my ego. I've actually named my ego. My ego's name is Igor. And I found when I was younger, a little bit more confident, cocky, arrogant, Igor would want to fight. Igor would want to be opinionated. Igor would want to be protective. And now, as I'm older, and maybe a little bit more seasoned in what I do, I always ask myself, do I want to be right or do I want to be at peace? Now, I'll still express myself, but I don't get into debates anymore with people. I just kind of just speak truth and, just be at peace with that. And one of the things that Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about, which I love, and it's posted on my Intuitive Prospector page. So if you're not following my Intuitive Prospector page, we gotta hook you up. You go to the description field of this video. There's a link to both my YouTube channel, which has about 300 plus videos of meditation, spiritual hikes, spiritual dives, Mocha Mondays, Inspired Living Radio. And one of the things that I have on my Intuitive Prospector page that's really helped me, that Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about. He talked about enlightenment is the quiet acceptance of what is. Let me say that again. Enlightenment is the quiet acceptance of what is. And sometimes we have to be, acceptance with what's going on around us. I was actually having a conversation with my boss on the way here. We talked about, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and a lot of it is, based on your problems are irrelevant, and I don't mean to be negative about that. It's all about your attitude. In numerology, the word attitude actually adds up to 100 for those of you that follow numerology like myself. But a lot of it's your attitude and what you pick to choose to get into your chaos, to get into your problems. So it's your problems are irrelevant. It's how you respond to the problems. And sometimes by not responding to those problems can actually bring you more peace, joy, happiness, balance in your life. And so if I have this thought in my mind about fear or failure, I'll actually say, let's do a check-in. Your mind, your thoughts like to make things more serious than what they are. We found in doing this work, especially our species, especially as humans, we like to create our own drama, our own worry, our own fear. And when we start believing something, we go down that path, and the thoughts make it even more real and more serious. And then you realize half the stuff, probably 3/4 of the stuff, wasn't even true or real to begin with. So what I do is I do a reality check, and then I prepare for it if it's going to be bad, or I avoid it because I don't want to create more drama. I don't want to create more worry. I don't want to create all that bad negative stuff. So let me just turn my lighting on a little bit. So if you're just joining me, I'm here in the nation's capital. I'm 2 blocks away from the White House. And just want to say thank you for tuning into tonight's show of Metaphysical Mocha Monday. Because I couldn't do it on a plane at 30,000 feet. So if Jeanette, if you're on, Colleen, if you're on, if you help share out or answer questions in the Healing Cafe, I'd greatly appreciate it. Because we'll be going to the Healing Cafe here in about 10 minutes. But I thought I'd just jump on and talk about be more of the creator and less of the critic. Because when you fall into that creative path, when you find you can manifest and have mindfulness and visualize and set intentions, the universe, and it's even, from a science standpoint, they've shown from, at the cellular level that the gravitational thoughts, can gravitate towards each other on a cellular level. I'll have another show about that, talk a little bit more in depth about intuition and being intuitive, and talking a little bit how you can, take your thoughts and put them into a positive manifestation to believe it, see it, achieve it. And, I've done this myself. So the other things that, when it comes to being the creator, we can get angry because things aren't going the way that we want them to go. And when anger comes up for me, and this again, these are things that I work through in my own journey, my own path. Sometimes that primary feeling is, this is not fair. 2 years ago, part of me stepping back from my day job was there are some things that unfolded that just were not fair. People are people. We live in a dog eat dog world. People will backstab you, gossip about you. My mentors told me the more known and popular I become, I don't do this to be popular, but the more that people connect with me, the more stuff people are going to say. It's just, I guess, the reality of the world. But 2 years ago, when I felt like something wasn't not fair, my response was, well, screw it, I'll just quit. And I went and meditated on it and thought about it and said, no, I'm going to find a different way. This is actually the sign, the symbol, the energy was right before me to say, hey, the spirit world is still giving you this opportunity to go part-time so you can start focusing on your spiritual practice more and have more time dedicated to do readings, to do your radio show, to write articles, to write your book, to write your first prospecting deck that I'm working on. Because that takes time and energy, and I always feel like I don't have enough time, I'm running out of time. So again, what I would do is I'd start to move into, do a reality check. I would actually sit down and have a conversation with just the power of breath, get into the magic of the moment, because that's very powerful. Remember, the imagination creates a future that's not guaranteed or going to unfold the way you think it's going to. Your memories create a past you can't go back and change. But when you move into the magic of the moment, also think about the people that are in your life, because that's really important. If you have people in your life that that support you and appreciate you for who you are and want to see you succeed, then surround yourself with good people, because that makes all the difference in the world. And it's something unfortunately I've had to examine the last 6 months, even the last 6 months, of people that I've been very close with in my past, even some family, that I had to finally say, enough is enough. I can't continue to go down that dysfunctional spiral path of, secrecies and lies and deception. And when you do that, there's a sense of freedom. And, Rumi talked about the art of knowing is knowing what to ignore. And that includes people, guys. So pay attention to, when you're in the magic of the moment, the people that you surround yourself with can make all the difference in the world. And when I got to that point of feeling anger, saying this is not fair, I check in, take a breath, and I either make it fair. If I thought it was unfair, what can I do to make that fair? And I don't mean that as tit for tat. I don't mean revenge. I mean, okay, what can I do to make that fair? Is there something I need to say? Do I need to forgive? Do I need to move to that place of forgiveness so I can let that go and move on with my journey? Sometimes guilt can come in, like you're feeling guilty, like you didn't do what you said you were going to do. I always remind people to read the 4 Agreements, a great book. Do what you say you're going to do your best at what you're going to do. Don't make assumptions and don't take it personally. And if you follow those, it becomes quite simple. And when you follow the golden rule, the golden circle, I've always had the philosophy of trying to leave things better than how I found them, give it my best, but also treat people how I like to be treated. And I found in the spiritual pathways, people can take advantage of that. When you're helping somebody, when you're being in service to somebody, they can really take advantage of you, and you have to say, bless you, but I need to go on my journey, and I need to, let you go. And it's not always easy, but those are just some things to help you with the creator path. If you want to be, that creator and less critic, and that's what today's message is: more creator, less critic. There was a post that I put on the Intuitive Prospector page. Again, if you haven't liked or subscribed to the Intuitive Prospector page, because I believe that there's an Intuitive Prospector in all of you in search of your own spiritual gold, make sure to get on my page, subscribe to it, so you can get inspirational messages and upcoming events and all the shows that I do. But one of the posts that I recently posted that got a lot of traction, it resonated with a lot of people, is from L.R. Nost. And it says, "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world." And we see a lot of that. We're all being impacted by that. All things break, and all things can be mended, not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world awaits in darkness for the light that is you. And that is so true, and that starts with intention. Energy follows intention. And if you're a creator, I'm going to challenge you tonight from the nation's capital to really go out and create something that you've been thinking about for a long time, something that you've been wanting to do, a passion, but you've had fear. You've had, whether it's fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what people are going to say. Forget all that, guys. Life is short. Live Carpe Diem. Live life to the fullest, because you never know when that moment's going to end. And I hope tonight's messages of being a more creator and less critic will help you move into that space. Remember, failure, first attempt in learning. So fail often, fail big, and embrace the fear, because Joseph Campbell reminds us that the cave we fear usually holds the treasure we seek. Isn't there a lot of truth to that? So I want to give you your totem animal spirit for the week, and I also want to give you your crystal for the week. And you know, one of the quotes that I've been really just thinking about this whole Kobe Bryant thing, with how he transitioned that with his daughter and all the other people on the helicopter, just such tragic and so unnecessary. But again, you know, was it meant to happen? We'll never know until we get to the other side. But one of the quotes has really stuck out with me from Kobe, because Kobe was one of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game and that I've ever seen in my life. And he talked about haters are a good problem to have. Nobody hates the good ones. They hate the great ones. And that really just kind of sticks now with where Kobe's at on the other side. And, you know, you're going to have a lot of haters out there. You're going to have a lot of opinionators. You're going to have a lot of pundits. You're going to have a lot of critics and skeptics, even the work I do, family and friends. But you know, just remember that no matter how good or bad you think life is, wake up each day thankful for life. Someone out there is literally struggling to survive. So if you put it in perspective, and you realize that, you know, there is somebody out there struggling, it helps to inspire you to move into that creator and less of the critic, because you stop looking at all the small stuff of what society and life and people want you to do, and you start doing what you want to do. So, fear, anger, guilt, boredom, stress, sadness, loneliness, inadequacy, frustration. Those are all words that will come up when you get into that creative process. But one of the movies I watched on the plane today was the battle of the currency war, which was Thomas Edison trying to create the light bulb and bring electricity, which was only over 120 years ago, guys, that he created. Before that, we lived in darkness. We lived by the flame. So it was in 1893 at the Chicago World Fair that they lit up the light bulb, the incandescent light bulb, and there was a battle to get those into cities across the nation. And here we are 120 plus years later, with surrounded by power. It changed the world, and we see that with social media. And I think in the roaring 20s, we're going to see another big breakthrough come up, whether it's physics, whether it's medicine, whether it's space exploration, first contact. That, you know, 120 years from now, they'll look back and say, why did they put up with the stuff that they put up with? So it was just a great movie, but it talked about keep going. He tried 10,000 times to try to develop this light bulb with the filament that went in. And for years, he tried and he tried and he kept failing and he kept failing and he kept failing. And there's actually a quote out there, but all it takes is that one time. And that's the creator. And it's just funny because I actually had already thought about today's show on the plane. Then I watched the movie. There's that synchronicity, that alignment, if you will, of what I'm thinking and feeling. To, you know, look up the quote from Thomas Edison, to keep going, and all the trials and tribulations he went through, but he kept going to give us the power that we have, the energy, the light bulb, the light in the darkness. So I hope that helps. Just kind of an inspirational message for you this week. Some crystals to think about if you're into crystals or stones. Carnelian is a great stone for creativity. It is the stone of creativity. Lapis is the stone of awareness and truth. Tiger's eye, which is the stone of the mind. I like citrine. You know, citrine for me is pretty much the what we call the lucky merchant stone. So those are all great, especially the orange citrine is really nice, and the tangerine quartz, which is the stone or crystal of perseverance and strength. Get yourself surrounded by some crystals and stones to help you with this creative process. Whatever you're working on, whether it's a book, whether it's a song, whether it's a new job, whether it's a relationship, be the creator and have those stones around to help you. And like I said, the message for today on the numerology side was new beginnings with the number 1. And last but not least, I thought this was kind of cool for you. When I was looking up totem animal spirits, because nature is also, you know, for history past, millennia, nature's always corresponded with us to give us signs, symbols, synchronistic events, or meaningful intuition, meaningful coincidences, if you will. And I was actually watching the movie The Goldfinch, and when I looked it up, That's going to be the totem animal spirit for this week is the goldfinch, because the goldfinch, the meaning or the messages in general, it symbolizes a sure sign of exuberance, liveliness, and enthusiasm in your current world. So the goldfinch, the movie The Goldfinch, I didn't realize it would be the totem animal spirit, but here we are, and that is going to be your totem animal spirit. So if you see the goldfinch, yellow, red, blue, whatever color they come in, I'm not sure what color they come in, but the goldfinch sparked that by watching a movie called The Goldfinch, which is a drama that I was watching on the plane. But pretty much their arrival, when you see a goldfinch, their arrival in your life is to remind you to enjoy and savor each moment. And I hope that you'll do that with today's message. So I'm gonna get ready for the Healing Cafe. So if you want to join us over at the Healing Cafe, I'll be taking your questions. I'll be interacting with you live. Yeah, we're 2 minutes over. But thank you for joining me on the evening edition of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, broadcasting live 2 blocks away from the White House here in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. We'll get ready for the Healing Cafe, so get your questions ready. The more specific your question, the more specific the answer. I won't be doing mediumship because I have no way for you to call in, and unfortunately Facebook doesn't allow me. I don't think it does. Let me see here. It hasn't allowed me for a while to bring people on live video, and I'm not at home, so I won't be in my studio, but I will be giving you some psychic readings and some intuitive readings and color readings, numerology readings, affirmations, and let's go prospecting over in the Healing Cafe. So get your questions ready. I'll be back here in about 1 minute so I can change over the format, and this can go over to my YouTube channel and broadcast it over there. But I won't be doing mediumship unless I just feel a calling, because I need to hear your voice when it comes to mediumship and making that connection. And I don't have a way for you to call me. So thanks for tuning in. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And most importantly, find that creator. More creator, less critic. And move into that thing that you've been thinking about doing. And until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. I'll see you next Monday. Back in Seattle, normal time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by the Healing Cafe at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's been awesome connecting with you tonight from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., and I will see you guys over in the Healing Cafe for those that want to join. And if not, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Namaste.